my life and something that I did to really spur me on to developing myself again and finding me again. But before I do, it's my boy's 11th birthday, so I'm going to wish him happy birthday because I know he's going to watch this on his mum's phone. So happy birthday, my boy, I love you. So, okay, let's get straight into this. So, in September 2011, I left the Royal Marines. And as many of you will know that, who know my story, I came home to be with the kids. And at the time, my wife. And after sort of 9 years serving in the Marines, I decided that I wanted to be at home with my kids and watch them grow up and be around all the time. And it was a difficult decision, and leaving, and as most of you know. But what sort of faced me, I wasn't prepared for. And obviously going deep into my rut of life, all that lack of identity that I showed, all the lack of purpose, lack of direction, and all of those things I've always talked about. And I think I only spoke about them earlier in the week. And I remember the turning point. And the turning point was, it was quite bizarre actually. I wasn't really sleeping. I think I probably, I parted ways with my wife at the time, and the kids' mum, and I was just lying in bed at home, and it was like I wasn't in control of my emotions. It was like I wasn't in control of my body, and I was lying there, and it was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I hadn't slept, and I was just running over my head where it all went wrong. Probably about 2 years earlier, I was in the best job ever. I was super happy with my job. Everything was going well at home, and I managed to screw everything up. And I was just lying there at 3, and I was just overwhelmed with this surge of emotion that I just couldn't get rid of. So I actually did something I hadn't done in about a year, and I was put my trainers on and go for a run. And I thought, I'm just going to run for half an hour. I'm going to see if I can run off this emotion or this stress or this overwhelm that I'm feeling. Whatever it was the most bizarre experience. And I went for a run. And I thought, half an hour run, that would clear my head. It's something I haven't done in ages. So I stupidly didn't warm up either. And what happened is, when I started running, it was like a black cloud was almost lifting around me. And without even realising it, half an hour had passed. And I was running along, and it was like I was running through the last sort of 3 years of my life. And then I run another half hour, and then another run a half hour, another half hour, another half hour. And I ended up running, I think it was around 3 hours. I ended up running 3 hours, and within that 3 hours, I managed, it was almost like having a counselling session when you talk to someone and you let out everything that you've been thinking, everything that's been building up, all of the pressures that have been building up, all of the emotions that have been building up. And I guess that when we're in a rut, that's what we do, isn't it? That's what I see it happening. So when we're in that rut, we overwhelm our state of mind, our brain, with thoughts, emotions, and sometimes just lack of action, because it just lies there. It just consumes us, and it's almost like you've had a curse put on you, because you can't see clearly, you can't think clearly, you're irrational, emotional, and we think the worst, and we're not motivated, we're not positive, and we can't see through the black cloud. I kind of vision all this black cloud going around you, and the run just cleared everything for me, and it was like I almost saw the light. It was like, okay, it's time to rebuild. And in that time, I found my purpose. And as many of you will have read, in my book, if you read Is a State of Mind, I dedicated my book to Angelina and Bailey, who are my oldest two, who at the time, I think if weren't around, I may well have even contemplated taking my own life. And in theory, whilst I was on that run, that 3-hour run, I was thinking about them an awful lot and about how much I'd let them down over the last couple of years, and it's really hard to come to it was really hard to come to terms with that, and how much I just had let them down, because I was so consumed with my own ruts, with my own emotions, my own selfish actions, and it was enlightening to do that run, to figure out, right, I need to turn my life around for these guys, for these two kids need their dad. They don't need some emotional guy who is not really offering anything to the world, is not really offering anything to them, and is not being the best dad that he can be. And that was my purpose, and continues to be, with a brand new young lady who's Alba. And they were my fire, they were my coal on my fire. They got my fire burning. They were the people that slowly got me out of my rut. They were the people that inspired me to be a better man. They were the people that were going to inspire me to be fitter and stronger, like I used to be in the Marines. And during that run, I thought to myself that I didn't want to do the job that I wanted to do. I left the Marines and I was stuck in a teaching job that I just didn't enjoy. It wasn't for me. And, you know, I was drowning in financial stress, because I had taken a 15 grand pay cut a year for the Marines, to the teaching job, you know, and was struggling to pay the mortgage. So, you know, all from this one run, the next day, I was like a different man, you know. You know, I borrowed money off my mum to pay off all my debt, so my outgoings were cheaper. I put into place a 12-year plan. I put into place things to do with the kids. I put into place how to run businesses and follow people on social media of how to run businesses. You know, I was really busy that day. I was like a man on fire. I was like how many guys are when they start a program. They're like, yes, I'm going to change my life. This is it. I'm on it. And I was enlightened. It was enlightening to feel much different, you know, and that's the adrenaline running through the body. That was the fire burning inside. And that all stemmed from that run. And you know, you can't change overnight, but what you can do is take massive steps to try and change over a period of time. My biggest step was that run. And I pretty much think still to this day, that run pretty much saved my life as well. Because without going for that run, without just releasing all the emotions that were building up and all of the thoughts that were going on, I probably could have been in that state for another year, you know, even if I got through another year. And everything become clear for me. And I think it's really important for everybody to understand that, you know, despite you being stuck in a rut, despite you feeling negative emotions, despite you not thinking that there is a way forwards, despite you thinking that there is no way forwards, that there always is. And one of the reasons I created the Brotherhood program, which is I get my membership that we do monthly, was because I wanted to give guys that platform to be involved in, so that they never felt in that rut or never felt alone. And, you know, with things like a fitness program, you do a fitness program, you come in and you go and you try and do it yourself. With the Brotherhood, what you have is almost a second family. And when I created it, I always thought to myself, this is something I could have joined, invested in, if I was in the state I was in at that time when I went for that run. You know, I'd be inspired by others. You know, I get goose pimples when I read some of the guys' posts, and then I look at, before I can even comment or get on there, there's already like 10 comments from other guys telling them how they can do it, and how they can inspire themselves, and how they're there for each other. And I just always think back to that time, you know, when I went for that run, or just before I was in that state, and I was just like, fucking hell, if only I had this when I was back there. And this is why I started the Dads Coach, to do all this stuff, to help dads that are in those positions that I was in, you know, because fitness is a great healer. It is a healer. I think a lot of people look at fitness as for fat loss, or, you know, to look good, which is great. But sometimes we don't look at fitness as a healer. It's a stress relief. It's a way to release a lot of the tension and the build-up that we carry through life and through life's situations. Many people ignore it. Many people ignore what I'm saying because they're too blinded by their own world. You know, they're not there to open up. They're not available to be open up. They're not available to realise that the benefits are there, because they're like, it's not going to solve anything. It's not going to change anything. And that is a classic negative mindset that being in a rut brings. And it's not that I feel sorry for people like that. It's just that to me is where the barrier lies, is because we don't allow ourselves to open up. We don't allow ourselves to commit to something because we never think that anything is going to work. We never think that anything is going to improve our mental state, our physical state. We're stuck in a state of mind in which we can never get out. It's almost like a prison for many people, you know, and you offer a key to get out, and a lot of people don't feel it's the right key, or don't think it's the way forwards. And I can just say from experience, it is. And all those guys that are listening, watching, that are stuck in that rut, stuck in that place, I fucking promise you, honestly, having been there in the deepest, darkest pit that you can fucking possibly imagine, there is a way out. And when you're stuck in that fucking pit and you think there's no way out, there's always a way out. Always a way out. And that run, fucking how many years ago was that now? So that would have been 5 years ago, changed my life. It changed my fucking life, honestly. And it made me see things clearer, because I had purpose, I had vision, and that's all I need, you know. And along the way, I've created values for myself, and values that I believe in. And, you know, I've almost decided to dedicate the next 20 to 30 years helping men get out of that rut and be in control and be focused on their life. Enough! And fuck those dogs up. And that's what the Brotherhood is for me. And that is, the Brotherhood is almost going to be a reflection of my passion for the guys, where I commit myself to helping guys, to making sure that they are on top of things, making sure that they're focused. And it's funny because all of it, the whole journey, everything I'm fucking doing, everything has stemmed from my dark pit, that run. And that run, that changed it, you know, that 3-hour run, that brought me back to life. It brought me back to life. It showed me the way. And I'm not saying if you go for that fucking run, fucking Jesus is going to save you. And I'm not saying Jesus saved me. But fucking that run, you know, that run was like, I just can't, you know, even just talking about it brings up all the emotions. Shut up! Brings up all the emotions that I went through. You know, I was crying on that run. I must have cried, out of that 3-hour run, I must have cried nearly fucking good solid hour, because it was a healer, you know. And it was like Forrest Gump, that's what it was like. If you ever watched Forrest Gump, it was like that dude fucking running. And it changed the way I think. And that was the, you know, that was the launch of the new me, you know. The transition from the military life to civilian life had finished, and I never looked back. You know, there were still dark days. There was always dark days, but I felt even more in control. And every time I felt like I was in a dark place, I'd go for a run or I'd do a workout, and I felt better for it. And fast forward on 5 years, I'm stood here talking to you guys, fucking telling you it's going to happen for you, and that you can get out of it, and that if you're prepared for hard work and prepared to get out of it, there's a better way to live. So I'm going to leave it on that. That definitely has brought up some old emotions, just talking about that. And I think this is what the beauty of it is, isn't it? You know, I've got guys in the academy who are opening up more and more and more every single day. Now, don't get me wrong, all right? Don't get me wrong. The Brotherhood is not a counselling session where we all talk about our problems. It's a positive environment where we're open about our lives and the wins and the losses. And I think it's important for guys to open up on what they are feeling and the problems that they felt, they've gone through. But it's just such a positive, like, it's fucking, you go in there, it's like a boom, it's like a power bomb of positivity. And the guys that are not quite not there yet, or the guys that are there are fucking bringing them up. Okay, and that's the beauty of it. So it's just a good place to be. And I just want you to know, wherever you are watching this right now, that there's a way out. There's 100% a way out. And you might take a run, it might take a commitment, you might be talking yourself out of it all the time, saying, no, this is not going to work, this is just bullshit, blah, blah, blah. And that's your chimp mode, and that's your side of you that just isn't sure. It's just scared. And it's just scared to make some changes and take some leaps. And that is difficult, because you do talk yourself out. You do talk yourself out of it. You almost pick yourself up, you're like on the brink of making a change, and then you talk yourself out of it. I can't do it, I'm too busy, I've got no time. The number of people I've seen this week telling me that they can't commit to the free challenge that I've put up, that's going to spur on their lives. And they're fucking 60, and they give the golden handshake, and they regret missing out. And they regret missing out on their health. You know, regret is a horrible emotion, which is another live feed. Listen, have a great day. I'm going to be enjoying my boy's birthday today, and I'll might even go live again tonight. You know, I'm getting into the habit now of doing 2 live feeds. I'm going to run out of things to talk about. So just sit here and you can look at my pretty face. Have a good day. Catch you soon.